Is that the look of a woman who believes in herself? Not really. Like, this is how I'd wake up every single morning. This would be about May, when you realize, oh my God, like this is actually a thing right now. And then I started to freak out because I hadn't done what you're about to do this weekend. I hadn't taken a moment to say, okay, I've just graduated from that chapter of my life with all these skills and with all these experiences and a lot of failures, and I need to commence something new. I am so excited to be here. I have spent the entire day putting together a presentation for you. Yes, for you, just for you. Thank you for that. I see you, I love you, and this one is really personal. I'm really excited about this, and you know, I've been having a ton of full circle moments. Anybody ever have a full circle moment? And you know what I thought about it? Is this up right now? Is there a photo up there? Oh, fantastic. Okay, so I got to tell you this story. So where is Alejandra and Patricio? Where are they? They're there. Okay, right there. Okay, so I got to tell you this story. So here's the thing about a full circle moment. And we're gonna begin one together here. So a full circle moment is when you catch up to the future you in your life. I'm going to say that again. A full circle moment is when you catch up to the person you always envisioned in your life right now. And isn't that what you're here to do this weekend? That's right. That's right. And so the reason why I wanted to show you this photo is because I've been having full circle moment after full circle moment after full circle moment, and so I'm going to weave that all in and share this with you because I'm going to coach you and inspire you and kick you in the ass this next hour or so until you have one, okay? We're going to create one. And so the reason why this is so important is I walked in here and I was back there cramming. I was the kind of person in college that did all-nighters, slid the papers in under the door right as they were due. And so I'm back there right now with my presentation. These two walk up to me. And we had met 4 years ago when we were both at the University of Southern California dropping our kids off for school. And we took this photo, and wouldn't you know it, they're here at this event. Now, it gets even crazier. Because I'm one of these people, we have this saying, the portal is open. And what I mean by that is I think everybody that elects to come to a Hay House event believes in the energetic connection of all of us, right? And I also believe that when you start to tap into your mindset and you start to align your action with the kind of person that you want to be, the things you want to achieve in your life, there is some crazy magical crap that starts to happen. And so when you see how I had planned on starting this, you are going to freak out because this was a full circle moment to see these guys. And I've been having them nonstop. And so last week I was in Los Angeles because our daughter, who when the three of us met 4 years ago, our daughter's graduation was last week. And good for her, right? Thank God she made it. And we had our doubts, you know, certain times. And what was interesting is I've been thinking a lot about this theme of graduation, and we're going to get to that in a minute. But so the first full circle moment that I had was last week. We were in Los Angeles, kind of there to do some episodes with some awesome guests on the Mel Robbins podcast. And I happened to be in town when my daughter was giving her senior thesis presentation. And she is a pop music major at the Thornton School of Music, and her dream, and I'm going to talk to you about your dreams. Her dream is to be a touring singer-songwriter. That is her dream. And you have a dream. There is a reason why you're here. The reason why you're going to spend the next 2.5 days together is because you have a dream about what you want to do in your life. You have have a vision for yourself. And I got to tell you something. Ever since this kid came out of the womb and she could talk, this kid has been singing. I think one of the most frequent phrases that she would hear from me is, "Could you stop singing?" And so last week on Tuesday, she gave her final presentation, which was all about, it's like a TED Talk where you have to explain, how did you develop into the performer that you are over the last 4 years? And I'm going to keep coming back to this theme of, where are you going to go next? What have you gained in the last 4 years? And so she gave this talk, and as I was going to the talk, I realized, oh my God, I'm going to the same classroom theater thing where she did her audition. I wasn't allowed in there, but it was the exact same room where she did her audition in order to be accepted into the program back in 2019. Oh my God, so I get these goosebumps, right? Now, it gets even cooler, but I'll share with you. So I'm thinking graduation, right? Thinking about, anybody have anybody in your life graduating right around now? High school, college, graduate school, nieces, nephews, anybody that you know. Do you remember your own graduation, right? It's an incredible time in your life. Why? Because something is ending. Can you guys turn up the music? Right, there she is. We'll do that one again. Crank the music. Here we go. Got to get in the theme of graduating, right? And it's such a cool moment because you're there to celebrate what somebody's done in the last 4 years, right? All the hard work that went into getting that degree. And so the first thing that I want to do is I want you to consider that this weekend is your graduation ceremony. Now, what are you graduating from? You're graduating from the last 3 lousy years, right? And have you ever thought to consider, does anybody remember what they call a graduation ceremony? Yes. Why? Correct, because your next chapter is about to commence. And so this is a really important moment for you, if you choose to let it be. You could let this moment be the moment that you celebrate all of the stuff that you had to face in these last 3 to 4 years, all of the wisdom that you've gained, all of the wins, all of the losses. In fact, stand up. We all deserve a round of applause for graduating from this crap, right? Let's go. I can't hear you. There we go. There we go. Thank you. All right, we can sit down. You can turn the tassel. We're going to declare that over. You get your degree. Very good job. I also want to point out something. So I have really bad TMJ, and my doctor told me I should get Botox in my jaw. And it took away all the pain, but I can't smile. I literally look like I'm going to the bathroom when I try to smile. I am never doing this again. And so you will notice every photo I'm taking right now, the only thing I can do is like make a. And so if you take a photo with me later, please, I'm not trying to be glamorous. I'm trying not to look like I hate you as we're taking the photo. Because you can see right there, the frown is down. Like, this is the best I can do. And so I just want to take a minute. I wanted to celebrate you, which is what we did. That is an 85-year-old woman. That's Chris's mom. Don't you want to be like that? Don't we want to commence that kind of energy? So I got to tell you the second full circle moment. So just imagine that I literally am walking in here and I bump into 2 people I saw the week I dropped her off. Don't you think that's a message to all of us? Absolutely. And so I got to tell you the second full circle moment. So in order to get into this program, there's a lot that our daughter had to do. I don't know if any of you have athletes in your family or any musicians in your family, but it's a lot like getting recruited as an athlete. You got to not only apply to the school, but you got to fill out all this special stuff. You got to create a video, and then the video determines whether or not you get an audition, and then the audition means that you're only going to get like one of the 2 spots. And so what was interesting is that we put together this video, and our kids went to a public high school. And so she didn't go to a music school. She wasn't part of a band. She didn't have music theory. She just did some community theater, and you know what she did all the time when she first started singing publicly? she started singing the national anthem. So we put a little clip in her audition video. I have to tell you, one of the most incredible experiences that I've ever had happened last Friday. Because at the 140th commencement ceremonies for the University of Southern California, she was asked to sing the national anthem. Now, her goal in life is to be a touring singer-songwriter. And her biggest dream on the planet would be to be successful enough with her music to be able to sing in a stadium. There were 60,000 people there that day. And so I want to show you something, a beautiful transformation. I want to show you what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about having the courage to claim what you want. Hell yeah is right. I heard somebody in the front row right over there. We're going to talk about how you do it. It's not going to happen overnight. But if you have the courage to claim what you want, to commence something new in your life, something bigger in your life, and you are willing to wake up every day and align your actions with that bigger dream, over time it will happen. And so what you're about to see is the beginning of the audition tape that she submitted in order to land an audition. And wait till you see where it ends.
I'm Mel Robbins, and this is my pre-screen video for University of Southern California. My most consistent gig is singing the national anthem, and I sing it so often that I even have the athletic director on speed dial. I even sing it at my own games. Banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Now, why am I showing you that? I'm showing you that because I have no idea if she's ever going to be a touring musician. I have no idea if she will achieve that dream in terms of the vision. But what I do know is that that right there is evidence that if you have the courage to name it, if you have the courage to chip away at it, if you have the courage to keep showing up, you can create things beyond your wildest dreams. Because who knows what's going to happen in the future? But that right there is a version of what she had always dreamt of. So maybe it'll lead her somewhere entirely different. I don't know. But what's available to you, especially beginning here, I want you to get super selfish this weekend. I want you to get what you came for. And that means I do not want you to sit passively as people are talking. I do not want you to phone it in on the breaks. I want you to be selfish. I want you to show up as the future you. And we're going to talk a lot about your graduation and what's about to commence. And so I want you to think about this question. This is the year I what? This is the year I what? And I want you to think about that from the standpoint of who is the future version of yourself who will start showing up here. And as you go through the week and you listen to these world-class speakers and authors and mediums and people who have shown up here to serve you and to serve not the like, I don't think I can do it, but to serve the best part of you, to serve your dreams. That's why I showed up. I didn't show up to listen to your excuses. I showed up to remind you of who you are and what you're capable of. That's right. So I want to start by dissecting the actual name of the event, okay? I can do it. Louise Hayes, I can do it. Oh, I didn't expect you guys to say that. Okay, sorry. It's like, wow, okay. So And I'm going to talk about each word, I. Because this simple phrase packs a much more powerful punch than you can imagine. And I'm going to unpack each part of this, and I am going to leave you with tools to help you understand why each one of these 4 words matters. So I. The I in that sentence means it's your life, it's your responsibility. I have gotten, I don't know, I tend to get quoted a lot for saying, no one's coming. No one's coming. There are a lot of us that want to empower you and to support you and to be a light on your path, but no one's coming to do the work. No one's coming for you to get out of bed early. No one's coming to do the things you don't feel like doing. No one's coming to rescue you. No one's coming to do the hard things. The I in this sentence is about you taking personal responsibility. And so when I said to you, your new life commences when you are willing to have the courage to claim what you want. What that means is this weekend, I want you to take responsibility for what happens next. I want you to realize that, oh my God, I'm going to get all this stuff and inspired, but when I leave here, no one's coming. It is up to me. And that's a good thing, because your dreams are yours for a reason. Because they're yours to achieve. And what I've seen over and over, and these are, this is kind of one of those sentences that sounds kind of dumb until you kind of get it. The thing about your dreams and the thing that you're going to write down and that you're going to leave here and go work on, that you're going to commence this new chapter in your life, the whole purpose of doing it is not to achieve it. That's why I said, who knows if she'll be in a stadium tour? You want to know why? Because I can't do the work for her. That's her responsibility to make that happen. But here's what I know. If she or if you start to push yourself every single day to wake up, no matter how you feel, and take the actions that align with the vision that you have for your life, if you do that consistently, just one small action every day, what happens is you bump into a much more incredible version of yourself than you could possibly imagine. It's the version of you that I see. I have coached way too many people I just have way too much evidence. There is not a single excuse that you could share with me that you could convince me you're not capable of doing what you want. Now, maybe if you're like the size of Shaq and you want to be a jockey, we might have some problems. But almost every other thing that you think is blocking you, it's complete garbage. Complete garbage. And so that is the most important thing about that I. No one's coming. I am responsible for this. Now, the second word, can. Can. Can is about belief. Now, normally, I would talk about action first, because I think it's very hard to muster up the belief if you're not changing your actions. And I know, based on the science, that the fastest way to change is to put the actions that the future you would take, to take those now before you believe you can't, before you feel ready. But because the sentence is, I can do it, we're going to talk about belief right now, okay? Can. Because what's interesting about belief is it's the single thing that's stopping you right now. If you don't believe that you're able to achieve what you're about to commence here this weekend, you'll never do it. Why would you? But that sets up a problem for us, because typically you're not going to believe it until you see yourself doing it. And so I want to teach you something about how you can start to manufacture belief. And of course, I'm going to tell you a little story. So let's go back to March of 2020, when, the old life was happening. And we've all graduated from that, but I'm going to tell you a story about that time, right? Well, back in March of 2020, I was a daytime talk show host. This was me at my studios at CBS Broadcast Center. Drew Barrymore is now the person that sits in these studios, because on March 9th, when they found the virus inside of the CBS Broadcast Center on 57th and 10th in New York City, they evacuated the building. I, of course, like a self-respecting adult, stole everything that wasn't nailed down from my green room. See all the garbage bags there? That's all the suits, all the sneakers, because I figure, well, I'm going to need these if we go virtual. No, I'm like, these are going to get thrown in a closet, and then they're going to get thrown out. I'm stealing these things. And so I drag them out. And we didn't know what was going to happen next, right? Do you remember that moment? How weird it was? Nobody knew what was going to happen. And this is another thing about looking back and realizing how much you've gained in terms of experience and perspective. Remember when we were washing groceries? Remember when you'd go to the grocery store and people would have on scuba mats and hazmat suits, and there were people that were like, maxi pads on their mouth that they couldn't find a thing? You remember that? You'd see another person, you'd be like, oh my God, another person, oh my God. And, for a while it was kind of weird and strange, and then all of a sudden you realized, oh my God, like this isn't leaving. And when that hit, and I got fired from my dream job because they canceled the show, and then every speech that I had booked, and this same story happened to you, got canceled, and then the kids got sent home, and they're grieving the fact that college is now stopping, and your kids are home, and everyone's trying to do Zoom, and it was just a disaster. I started to feel like this, right? Is that the look of a woman who believes in herself? Not really. This is how I'd wake up every single morning. This would be about May, when you realize, oh my God, like this is actually the thing right now. And then I started to freak out because I hadn't done what you're about to do this weekend. I hadn't taken a moment to say, okay, I've just graduated from that chapter of my life with all these skills and with all these experiences and a lot of failures, and I need to commence something new. And what happened is, I started to freak out because it was triggering this feeling in me that I was about to lose everything again. And I'll tell you that story in a little bit, but, just way back, I'd say about 14 years ago, my husband and I were in a major crisis where I had lost my job, his businesses were failing, and we were in a financial freefall. And I was starting to think, just like a lot of you probably thought around May of 2020, how am I going to pay the bills? How am I going to pay the people that work for me? What is going to happen? How is this going to turn out? Did I think I could do it? Are you kidding me? I didn't even know what it was. I didn't know what to do. The confidence that you see, bottom it out. And see, that's the thing about belief. It's never there when you need it. It's never there when you need it. And I remember dragging myself into the bathroom one morning, and I looked absolutely horrendous. And I'm standing there, and I'm brushing my teeth, and I look in the mirror, and I see that one boob is sagging lower than the other. And I see last night's makeup is on, and I start doing what we all do, but we don't realize we're doing. I started ticking off all the things that I thought were wrong with me. Right? Oh, you look like shit. Oh, God, why didn't you wipe your makeup off? Oh, look at the boobs. Look at the wrinkles on your face. My God, woman, your gray hair's coming in. You're starting to look like you could get cast as a witch in some sort of, D-level movie. And then, of course, once you start criticizing yourself, your mind now is looking for the negative. And, I want to stop here because how many of you practice gratitude? I would think everybody here, right? Now, the interesting thing about practicing gratitude is that most people think that you practice gratitude because it feels good, because it kind of gives you this little rush, right? Actually, the reason why it's important to practice gratitude is something else. It's because when you're practicing gratitude, you are intentionally forcing your brain to scan for something positive. You are overriding the cognitive negative bias that is probably your default. And so the act of practicing gratitude, it's not about the feel good, it's about consciously training your brain to scan for something good. And so this moment in the mirror, I've now subconsciously scanned the reflection, and I see all the stuff I hate about myself. And now my mind is scanning for what else is wrong. This is how quickly it happens. And this is why belief can be a tricky thing. Because if you, at any moment during the day, criticize yourself, oh, that was so stupid, why did I do that? Oh, you're going to get in trouble. Oh, what did they say? When you're rewriting your emails 14 times, okay, I should do this and that. I should put an emoji here so they know this. That's you criticizing yourself. Because what you wrote originally was not good enough. And see, when you do that reflexively, you don't realize, but your brain starts to scan for other things that are wrong. It's why you tend to see all the things that you're not doing versus seeing all the things that you are doing. And I don't know what it was about this particular morning. Maybe it's because I looked so pathetic, and the dog was sitting there and needed to go outside, and I realized I've got like a Zoom meeting in about 5 minutes, and I look like Dracula. Like this is terrible. I don't know why I did it, but I just felt sorry for the person in the mirror. And as cheesy it sounds, I raised my hand and I high-fived her. Well, what's interesting is I didn't go amen. I kind of was like, oh my God, has it gotten this bad? And I leave. But I'll be honest with you, there was some that shifted. So the next morning I wake up and I go back into the bathroom, and I'm standing there brushing my teeth, and I'm noticing the wrinkles, and I put my toothbrush down, and I just instinctively high-five myself again. It was the strangest thing. And I noticed, I kind of chuckled because it's stupid to do something like that. Thankfully, nobody else was in the bathroom. And then I went on with my day. Now, it was the third morning when everything changed. And I'm going to explain this because I think this is a really important thing about belief. And it ties into all of the research that I'm sure many of you bumped into about the power of objectivity. This idea that you treat your friends and the people that you love very differently than you treat yourself. That you say very kind things to people that you love, but you say really horrible things to yourself. And so as I was walking to the bathroom that third morning, still feeling like this, I noticed something crazy. Have you ever had an experience where you're about to meet a friend, like somebody you really love, and you're about to walk into a cafe? What do you feel? Yeah, because you're excited to see somebody you really like. I felt that way about seeing myself in the mirror that morning. And it was the first time that I had ever had this experience where I then walk into the bathroom and I realize, oh my God, that's not my reflection. That's a human being. That's a woman who needs me. And I show up every morning and I look this human being in the eyes and I trash her. And that's the one human being that I'm going to spend my whole life with. And I treat her horribly. It's sort of like how your teenagers treat you, right? You know they love you, but they dump all over you. And that moment was so profound because that morning when I high-fived the mirror, I wasn't high-fiving my reflection. I was high-fiving the human, the soul, the person that needs me. I was joining in partnership. And here's where this gets really cool. So we've done a ton of research about this because here's what happened. I started doing this, and then about a week into it, I posted this photo. Now, had I known this was the photo that was going to go viral, I would have taken my retainer out and put my hair in a ponytail. So I put this on stories, right? And within an hour, people started tagging me all over the world. And I thought, whoa, what the heck is going on? if this dude is going to high five himself, and she's going to high five herself, and this very nice looking gentleman is going to high five himself. He's so good looking, I put him in the presentation twice. I'm like, maybe I'm onto something here. Maybe I'm not the only one who needs this. And so we did this year-long project. It was incredible, where we had people do the high five in the mirror for 5 days. And we partnered with Growth Day, and we did something called the High Five Challenge, and more than 174,000 people from 91 countries took the challenge. Yes, right there. How many of you have taken the High Five Challenge? Okay, excellent. And we haven't had a single person say it hasn't worked. Now, if somebody who raised their hand says it didn't work for me, please keep your mouth shut. That would really ruin the moment. Now, let me explain for those of you who have never heard about this, because here's what I want you to do. If you actually want to learn to believe in yourself before you feel like it, this is a habit, a physical habit I want you to add to your morning routine. And I get it. It sounds stupid. It sounds cheesy. For those of you wondering if you have to touch the mirror because you're worried about, like, are there going to be fingerprints on my mirror and I don't like the fingerprint? You don't have to touch the mirror. But here's what we found in our study, and this is sad. So 50%, more than 50% of men and women cannot or will not look at themselves in the mirror. More than 50%. And I want you to stop and consider, is that you? And when we dug into why do more than 50% of men and women not look at themselves or can't look at themselves? It's so sad. It's because they don't like the person they see. They don't like the person they've become. They're holding on to failures and judgments and regrets. So if you start your day, just consider this. If you start your day with this micro habit, where you get out of bed and you come into the bathroom and you ignore the human being in the mirror, right? You don't even look at yourself. That micro habit is a habit of self-rejection. And if you start your day and the first frickin' domino that falls is rejecting yourself, why do you think the rest of the day sucks? You've been waiting for somebody else to pick you up. You've been waiting for somebody else to validate you. You've been waiting for somebody else to come along and make you feel better. I'm telling you, there is only one person who will do it consistently, and that's the person that stares back at you in the mirror. And starting today, if there's any habit you commence, I implore you to break the habit of self-rejection first thing in the morning and adopt and practice a habit of self-acceptance, self-love, and celebration. Because when you are able to look at yourself in the mirror, truly look at yourself. Because you want to know what the rest of us do? So 50%, more than 50% of us don't look at ourselves. You know what the rest of us do? Before we get our makeup on, we're like, ugh. That's a habit of self-rejection. And so here's the greatest part about this. First of all, it's an action. And here's the second thing. I want you to turn toward a person that you're sitting next to, okay? Everybody pair up real quick. Yep. What are you, afraid of people? Turn to the people next to you. Okay. Now, here's a trick. When you high five somebody, look at their elbow and you won't miss. So I'm going to count backwards and we're going to high five the person. Okay, you ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, do it. Okay. Now, I want to explain something. Okay, how many of you felt energized by that? Yes. How many of you laughed when you did it? Yes. How many of you couldn't help but smile? Right? How many of you felt a little lift in your mood? Okay, well, here's where this science gets freaking crazy. You ready? So you have high-fived other people your whole life. Try to turn to the person, back to the person, and look at them, and as you high-five them, say, I hate you. Do it. Go for it. You can't do it, right? Your brain's like, wait a minute. That doesn't go with that motion, right? You don't walk up to somebody and high five and go, I hope you lose. Have a bad day. You don't. And here's the coolest part about this habit. Number one, I love habits that are free. Number two, I love habits that anybody can do. I think I said number three. That's number two. Number three, I love the fact that it works for everybody. And here's why it works. All of the programming that is associated with this action, it's already in your brain. See, you have been doing this for other people your whole life, and you've been watching sports folks do it with other people their whole life, that when you raise your hand and you go to high five yourself, your brain already knows what it is. Your subconscious takes over, and the action triggers all the positive programming to go, oh, this is a person we cheer for. Oh, this is a person who I like. Oh, this is a person I'm rooting for. That's right, yes. And so here's the other piece of the science that's really cool. So, when you kind of laughed, what that is that's also programming. See, the high five, first of all, gives you a drip of dopamine. That's why you feel your mood increase. The other reason why you feel slightly more energized and optimistic is because it taps into the celebratory energy in your nervous system. And the reason why this is so exciting is because it's already in you. I'm just begging you to aim it back at yourself every morning. And when you do it, I mark my words, you do it for 5 mornings in a row, and here's how you're going to practice it. You're going to walk into the bathroom, you're going to brush your teeth. God, I hope you brush your teeth. Then you're going to put your toothbrush down, and I want you to just take a moment and look into your own eyes. This is the hardest part for most people. This was the hardest part for my husband, Chris. So I stand at a sink next to my husband, and we've had like a 2-sink configuration for, 7 years. I had no idea that every time he looked in the mirror for the past 7 years, he saw somebody he hated. I had no idea that he could barely look at himself in the eyes because he was so judgmental of the failures in his life. And when I asked him if he would please do this 5-day challenge, he was like, no. And I said, please? He's like, it sounds stupid. I'm not doing that. And I said, I need you to do it. I need a dude in the challenge, okay? And so he did it. And when I talked to him afterwards, he said, the reason why I thought it was stupid is why on earth would you high-five somebody who you hate? And it makes me so sad, and I know that so many people sitting in this room feel that way, that you have not yet graduated from the things that you think that are failures. You have not graduated from the period of your life or the things that you wish you had done differently. And you are not going to graduate until A, you see those things as lessons, and B, that you can start to meet yourself where you are every morning in the bathroom and look yourself in the eyes. And here's the other thing I love about this. I know that everybody at Hay House loves mantras and all that kind of stuff, but you don't have a mantra with this because most of you don't believe in yourself. And most of you, if you were to stand there and go, I love myself, and then you go into the closet and you go to pull on your jeans, I'm so fat, why do we get so fat? And then your brain's like, you don't love yourself. Do you see how you treat yourself? So I love this because no mantra. And I mean it, because you want the positive programming that is already in your brain to just get unleashed with the gesture itself. And so this is step 1 in the I can. And the final reason why this works is because you are watching or feeling yourself. If even this works for people who can't see, because you still know what a high five is. And so when you do this, you don't need to say anything. Because when you high five yourself, the gesture alone demonstrates, I forgive you. Because think about what happens if you're on a team. You're on a basketball team, okay? And you blow it. Like, I mean, you blow that shot. Oh, God, and then you foul the person. And you come back to the huddle. What do you want the coach to do? Do you want the coach to go, you're a moron? What are you thinking out there? Oh, my God, you screw everything up. Is that going to help you perform better? Well, if you know that, why the hell are you criticizing yourself all the time? But what happens if the coach says, it's all right, and gives you a high five, get back out there? What does that tell you after you blow it when somebody high fives you? What does it tell you? Yes, you got this. Get back in there. And so you're sending yourself into your life knowing you have your own back, knowing that you're going to be there for you. And that's why this matters so much when it comes to belief, because you're demonstrating it. And it has this incredible impact in a really weird way. And so that's how you do it. That's it. And so starting tomorrow morning, I want you to commence this habit. And I want you to do it because you're going to need it for where you're going. Because I know you have big dreams. Now let's talk about the second thing that we learned. And this is really important, and I know that there's lots of practices that already do this, but I want to talk about this for a minute because I have a deep concern about something. I believe that every one of us is still trapped in a fight or flight response based on the last 3 years. I believe that if you feel like, oh my God, why am I always working? Why can't I turn my brain off? Why am I sleeping so bad? Why am I drinking so much? Why is this, why don't I go out ever? Why do I never want to see people? It's because of all of the uncertainty of the last 3 years. You cannot go through that much change, that many pivots, that many Zoom meetings, that much stuff going on without your nervous system dialing up onto alert. Now, I'm going to teach you how to use what I'm calling high-fiving your heart to flip off your fight or flight response and to turn on your calm, confident, parasympathetic response, okay? And you need this, and here's why you need this. If your body is in an alarm state, and I write about this a lot in the high five habit, when your body is like, uh-oh, and your sympathetic fight or flight or freeze mode is on, if you notice procrastination is at an all-time high, if you notice rumination is at an all-time high, blame your nervous system. I'm on a mission, and this is what I'm going to focus on in like the next commencement of my work, of getting people to stop talking about mental health from the neck up. Because it is not about the neck up. It is about the neck down and regulating your nervous system. Because when you can locate that switch inside you, everybody, and turn off the alarm, here's what's going to happen. This part of your brain can work. Research out of UCLA shows that if you're in a freaked out state, your brain does not actually function the way that it should. This is why you're ruminating. This is why you're procrastinating. And so let me show you how this works. Everybody put your hands right here in the center of your chest and press in so that we can, what experts call tone the vagus nerve. This is your light switch. This is how we turn off the fight or flight. And you can teach this to your kids. We're going to take a deep breath in. Here we go. And then you're just going to say these 3 sentences. I'm okay. I'm safe. I'm loved. Another breath. That's it. Now, there are some mornings you might need to do it 57 times. But it works like magic. And so if you're at work or you're stressed out about something, notice it. Give your heart a high five. Flip into your calm, confident nervous system. When you hear yourself saying those things, it's actually true. Now I want to keep going. Oop, is this not working? Oh, shit, I'm pushing the wrong button. Okay. I want to remind you of this question again, because we're going to get to the remaining part of the sentence in just a second. This is the year I commence what? What'd you say? Launch. I am commencing a whole new chapter in my life financially. I am graduating from the reactive, stressed out emergency mode. That's what I'm doing. Another thing that I am launching is I am figuring out menopause. I just had a hot flash. Like, I am going to get serious about my hormones naturally. Another thing that I'm commencing, I am commencing a whole body of work about helping people be mentally well from the neck down. What are you commencing? Shout it out. What category of your life? What? Love. Health? Anybody health? More money. We got some money in here? Yes. A book. Talent. All right, love that. What else? Build my empire. All right. Well, in just a second, we're going to talk about doing it.
Let's suppose that you were able every night to dream any dream you wanted to dream. Finally, you would dream where you are now. You would dream the dream of living the life that you are actually living today.
There is only one sensible thing to do with this empty existence, and that is fill it.
Live long and prosper.
Don't let fear rule your life.
I'm trying to make somebody to look up to.
That's the $100 million question right there. Not do you want to change, not do you think about changing. Will you change? And the answer is yes, you will. Why? Because we're going to talk about the third word, do. You got to do it. There are plenty of areas of your life where you believe in yourself and you don't do it. Right? How many of you believe you can get to the gym? Does that make you get to the gym? I don't think so. Action, action, action. It's one of the reasons why I love the high five habit, because it is an action that you can take that demonstrates confidence, that demonstrates acceptance, that demonstrates alliance with yourself. Does the person that you want to become cheer for themselves? Of course. Does the person that you want to become celebrate themselves? Of course. So you've got now the high five habit. You've got high fiving your heart. And now I want to remind you of the single greatest tool for doing things you don't feel like doing, because that's going to be the game, everybody. We cannot stop the fear. In fact, fear is part of the game. What's so interesting is now that our daughter has graduated and she's got to do it, she's scared to do it. Does she believe in herself? Of course she does. But belief is not enough. That's why there's 4 words in this sentence. It's your responsibility, I got to believe that this is possible. Do it. And the it that we're referring to is the thing you want to commence. It's the action you have to take. But the doing is the hardest part for everybody. Oh, I love you. Do it. Is there anybody in here who has no idea what the 5-second rule is? A couple people. Okay, so just for the people who are like, oh, I don't know, we're going to blaze through the story. Here's the bottom line. There's always an excuse not to do something, everybody. Always an excuse. Always, always, always. And, for me, this story began, and I'm going to just speed right through it, because in 2007, when my husband's restaurant businesses were going under, and we were $800,000 in debt, and we were about to lose the house because there were liens on it, and I was unemployed. I don't know about you guys. Have any of you ever created a vision board? Yeah, oh yeah, we love our vision boards. I'll tell you what was not on my vision board when I was 41. It was bankruptcy, being an alcoholic, and being about to get divorced. That was not on my vision board for 41. And, here's the interesting thing, and this is why I can do it, is so important for you to understand all the components. Yes, you can, but will you? Knowing what to do is just the beginning. You got to make yourself do it. And you're never going to feel like it. Let me tell you why. The future you requires you to do things you've never done before. The person that you are right now, don't feel like doing it. Don't want to do it. Absolutely not. And so I never intended to create this thing for the benefit of everybody understanding the power of it. I want to show you. The doing comes down to 5 seconds. That's it. And I want you to practice this tomorrow morning because, yes, you count backwards, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. But here's the thing. It's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Then you got to pop up just like she did. You got to move. You got to marry it with physical action, because what you're doing when you count backwards in a moment where you feel yourself hesitate is you are breaking your habit of thinking. And you are learning the habit of doing. If you are tired of self-doubt holding you back, if you are tired of overthinking holding you back, if you're tired of perfectionism holding you back, if you are tired of constantly ruminating in your head about what you need to do but never seeing yourself do it, you need the 5-second rule, because you have a problem. And the problem is you have a bias towards thinking. So did I. I would lay in bed in 2007 and stare at the ceiling and think about, I got to get out of bed. I got to get a job. I got to stop being mad at Chris. I got to stop drinking so much. I got to do all these things. And then you know what I'd do? I'd hit the snooze button. And then I'd wake up and then I'd go, oh my God, I got to get out of bed and I got to find a job and I got to call my friends and I got to do something. And then I'd hit the snooze button. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 came because one night I was sitting there watching television and I'm like, oh my God, Mel, tomorrow morning it's got to be the new you. You have got to get the kids on the bus. You have got to look for a job. You have got to start being nice to Chris. You've got to put the alcohol down. And by God, woman, when that alarm rings, you cannot lay there in bed like a human pot roast marinating in fear. You have got to get your ass up and change your life. And then all of a sudden this came across the television screen.
4, 3, 2, 1.
And I thought, oh my God, that's the answer to my prayers. I got to launch myself out of bed like a rocket. I got to move so fast and I'm not in that bed when that anxiety and that depression hits. And so that next morning, the alarm went off, and this is what you're going to see, because there's a 5-second gap between what you do right now and what the future you needs you to commence doing. That alarm is going to go off, and that alarm is a metaphor. It's a metaphor for those moments where you know you need to change, where you know that you should not be listening to your feelings. Because if you listen to your feelings and it worked, you have $1 million and be happy. And that's why I say there's a 5-second difference between who you are right now and the person you need to be. If my daughter actually expects to have a touring career as a songwriter, she better write some damn songs. If she listens to her feelings, she won't do it. If I want to get my next book done on time, I better sit down and write, even when I don't feel like it. And this is, again, the problem. Because you may believe that you can do it, but if you don't feel like doing it, or you get afraid, when I doubt myself, what if it doesn't happen? What if somebody laughs at me? What if I try really hard? Oh. Is that working? No. And so I just started counting backwards. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Saw my shoes, don't want to run. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, I'm going to go front. Oh, I see the phone. I hate people. I don't want to talk to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, I got a network. It's action, action, action. And look, you know, the funniest part about this is I never intended to tell anybody. I mean, it sounds stupid. You guys want to change your life and commence the best chapter of your life and meet the future you in real time? Just count to 5. I'm out of here. Brendan Burchard is coming up next, ladies and gentlemen. No, like you'd be like, yeah, Brendan Burchard, he's back there. But that all changed because I think the greater forces have other plans. And I was asked if I would give a talk about career change. If you've ever seen my TEDx talk, this is the first speech I had ever given in my life. You are witnessing a 21-minute-long panic attack. We're a minute into this puppy, and I already have that neck rash that people get, right? By the time minute 19 rolls around, I'm so disassociated and anxiety-ridden, I forget how to end the talk. And I look out in the crowd and I go, oh, there's this thing I do, you guys. It's called the 5-second rule. The moment you have an instinct to do something, you got to do it in 5 seconds or your brain will kill your motivation to act. Thank you very much. I was so anxiety-ridden, I gave out my email. I left the stage, and a year goes by. Somebody puts this online. I didn't even know it. And then something crazy happened. You want to know what happened? Well, first of all, this thing went viral. To the tune, it's now up to 31 million views. But that's not the crazy part. You want to hear the crazy part? People started to write to me at that email. And by people, I mean strangers. Hey, Mel, I'm using this 5-second thing, and I'm on pace to double my business, and I'm present with my kids. Yo, Mel, I'm able to use the 5-second rule to reach out to executives, and it's working. Mel, I'm using the 5-second rule, and my team has never been more productive. Whoa, should you teach this to your sales team? Of course you should. If you'd like to win the sales award, why? Because you're not selling anything when you're thinking about selling it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 cuts through the self-doubt, the anxiety, the procrastination, perfectionism, all that garbage that stops you from commencing the action. Should you teach it to your children?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I would actually proceed with caution. They can use this on you, you know. You know, never in a million years did I expect this to be such a profound tool for sobriety. We hear from people every single day around the world in addiction centers or with their personal stories who say, I either got sober or I can stay sober because 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 helps me interrupt temptation or triggers and choose something for my higher self. But I'll tell you something. It brings me to my knees when I think about this, but I never realized that something so stupid on its face and so simple could actually save lives. At this point, we know of over 432 people who have stopped themselves from committing suicide by using the 5-second rule. Like this gentleman right here. So this guy's name is Steve Montgomery, and he wrote to me about this moment because I, of course, saw this tweet, and I reached out to him, and we went back and forth, and he explained that Steve was a veteran, and like way too many of our veterans, he struggled with PTSD. And he was on a ferry overseas. He had boarded it with the intention of jumping over. And he explained that moment to me, and he said, you know, he's standing at the edge of the ferry against the railing. These are his words, not mine. And he said, I was trying to get the courage, you know, to jump over. And he said, all of a sudden I remembered that 5-second thing, and I counted backwards, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And I turned away from the railing, and I saw somebody in uniform. Now, here's the thing that's interesting. You can know what to do, but that's not enough. You've got to make yourself do it. He sees a person in uniform and goes, I need to ask for help, but I'm embarrassed. What are they going to think? I'm going to put the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. He walks up to the guy, tells him what's going on. They have an ambulance waiting. We stay in touch with him, and he's doing great. And look, I don't know where you are in your life, but here's what I do know. Having lost way too many people that I love to the diseases of hopelessness and addiction and despair, I do know one thing. You have within you the ability to face whatever it is that comes up in your life. You do. One step at a time, one action at a time. Those moments are temporary. And the life that is waiting for you is so magnificent. Now, couple warnings. If you wanted a license plate, they're going fast. The one is already gone in Arizona. And I have to say this. The 5-second rule, I need to remind all of you, not for signing contracts. It is not for getting married. And by God, if you plan on putting this on your body in any shape or form, could you please wait more than 5 seconds before you slap something like this? The rose does not make it any prettier, in my opinion. What is he thinking? This is the ugliest thing I've ever seen. You can't even see it in the mirror, for crying out loud. I've literally received tens of thousands of tattoos at this point. This one's my favorite, though. Why? That's your life. That's your life. If the last 3 years that we have graduated from have taught you anything, it's that your life is an infinite loop of things that are going to happen to you. Most of it out of your control, right? Some of this stuff that's going to happen in your lifetime, it is going to be so magnificent, it is going to blow your heart wide open. And some of the things that are going to happen to you in your lifetime, it is going to be so heartbreaking and devastating, it is going to blow your heart wide open. We can't control any of it. But here's the amazing news. You don't have to, because you now know the secret. If you just manage that 5-second window between something that happens and what you do next, you're in control of absolutely everything. Because you can always choose to align what you do next with that person that you want to become. Just as Kyle.
Not only has 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 helped me overcome an addiction to the snooze button, but it's also helped me to stay sober and away from substances, even in finding out that my grandma's cancer was back this weekend, where normally that would send me into a spiral to make some choices that were not in my best interest. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, I'm able to stay strong for my family, keep my career going, and continue the good progress I've made after 3.5 years sober.
Pretty cool. I can do it. All right. So, I can do it. You now know the meaning behind these 4 incredible words, right? You know tools that you can use. The high five habit is absolutely incredible for it. Do. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It is the target. It's what you want. I beg you, have the courage to declare it, to work on it, to be selfish these next couple days and soak everything up and aim it right at what you want to create. And, I know that this is Louise Hay's saying, but I'm going to turn it into mine. If I can do it, you can do it. I mean that. If I can go from being $800,000 in debt and drinking myself into the ground and then cleaning my act up, you can do it too. If I can go from getting fired and feeling despair and picking myself apart in the mirror to learning how to practice being my best ally, my best friend, my biggest frickin' cheerleader, because I am responsible for how I treat myself, for how I talk to myself. It begins with me. Stop looking for other people to do this for you. If you struggle with people pleasing, if you struggle with seeking validation, if you're constantly in these crappy relationships because you don't love yourself, commence this habit. Make the future you. Be the person that treats you like you wish everybody else would. And use the 5-second rule, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, to do whatever it is that you need to do. Because if I can do it, you can do it. Whether you use all this stuff to high-five yourself and then get to the gym even though you don't feel like it, or whether you high-five yourself in the mirror and then use 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 to finally have that surgery you've been avoiding, Or maybe you're going to use these tools to jump out of an airplane. I would not recommend this. Would not recommend this. Or maybe you're going to use this for something more profound like James did. So James heard me speak a little while ago, and he came up to me at a book signing, and he had those tears that you dudes get. You know how dudes get those crocodile tears, those big ones that kind of hang on your eyeballs, and you try hard not to let them drop, and it's like blinking hard to make sure he doesn't start crying, and he puts his hands on his belly. He goes, "Well, Mel, you really got me. I never thought I'd cry at a supply chain engineering conference." And then he went on to say something I've heard a lot. He said, I nearly left the room when you were talking about that veteran on the ferry. He said, I had a baby brother named Patrick, and Patrick was a veteran, and he struggled with PTSD, and I lost him. I lost him, Mel. God, I wish he had taken 5. So we stood there, and, having lost a bunch of friends, I just, started crying with them, and then he kind of went, but then I realized, this chick is talking to me. And he patted his stomach and he said, Mel, I've become somebody that I never imagined. He said, I'm so afraid of my own thoughts, it's like I'm behind enemy lines. I said, I'll tell you what, I used to run because it was the way that I dealt with the stress of my life, and I kind of worked it out. And he said, I'm going to start running again. I haven't been able to run since I lost my brother because I've been too afraid to be up here alone with my own thoughts. So I'm going to start running again, and this time I'm going to be doing it to raise money to help prevent this with other veterans. And so when I had a daytime talk show, I thought, I got to have him come on, right? I got to have him come on and tell this story, and let's use this story to inspire other people. Let's get the word out. And I'll tell you what, I got one of the biggest surprises of my entire life, because little did I know that while James and I were sitting there on set, my talk show team had tracked down that man on the ferry. I had never met him, and he was sitting in the audience as we began telling the story. This was the tweet that Steve put up that he tagged me in. So he tagged me on social media. Mel Robbins, you saved my life today.
You saved my life today. I was on the point of committing suicide. I was going to jump off a ferry, 5-second rule kicked in. Thank you. Mel Robbins, thank you.
Oh my God. You've been here the whole time?
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm fantastic.
What do you want people to know, Steve? Because you were at a moment where you were about to end your life.
The end is never the end until it's the end. You can always move on. I was in a real bad place. I got to the point, I'm up on the top deck on the Mersey ferry, and I go to the edge, and I'm thinking, I'm trying to build up the courage. And then the 5-second rule kicked in. I went 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, move. Take the action, move it from there to there.
Or maybe you're going to high-five your way and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 to being a 44-year-old freshman in college, like Dan did. The bottom line is, you can do it. You can do anything you put your mind and your action toward. So please, now that you have the tools, be selfish this weekend. Graduate from all the crap that has held you back. Celebrate all the gains that you have had in the last 4 years and in the last life that you've had. And then get on with it and commence something new, because you have all the tools that you need to make this year the year that you actually do it.
If today were the last day of my life.
When you die, that does not mean that you lose to cancer. You beat cancer by how you live, why you live, and in the manner in which you live.
You've given me the most precious moment. I'm getting to be an old man. I need memories like this.
you guys.